up, everybody? Back again for this week's video. It was supposed to be something cool, I guess, which I mean, it's still cool, but basically what I was trying to do was have the bump be smooth instead of like the single pulse and it's violent where it like jolts into the beams. I was trying to have it like pulse the trans brake solenoid so it would creep slowly into the beams. And I had watched a video from Ryan Blazer over at Blazer Builds. He did it with his Ford Ranger, and the way he had it set up was instead of using the Holley staging control, he went down into did it through the I/O table or the I/O. He set it up through there, and it worked pretty well for me at first. I obviously had to use different numbers than he did because he has a 4L80 with a D3 brake instead of a Turbo 400. But it was working great for me, and first couple tries it worked really good, but as you can see in the intro, it looked like it got really weak towards the end, like it wasn't really moving, and I figured, oh, maybe it's just because it was uphill or whatever, but then I was like, well, if I'm on a sticky track, it's probably not going to roll very well. So I messed with it more and more, and it got to the point where I'd set it on the trans brake and it would just start bumping in on its own, which I think was just caused by me getting the fluid too hot and not changed my trans fluid in over a year. So I probably have 150, 200 passes on it, plus a lot of street miles. So I think I just got the fluid so hot it just broke down and just quit doing what it was supposed to do and ended up knocking the reverse band out of it. So I'll just show you guys kind of what I've got to. I am going to throw the time lapse in here. I don't know when I will. It'll probably be after this, but yeah, so you got your forward drum here. Everything looks good in the forward drum. I don't think I'm going to pull the clutches out of the forward and direct drums because all the gears still felt fine. They still shifted hard. Everything felt good there. It was only reverse that was weak. And these clutches here, clutches and steels here, everything looks fine in this clutch pack. So that would lead me to believe that these two look fine also. I mean, I could just replace them. It's not that hard. But we'll see how I feel. I did order an entire rebuild kit. So what happened was, as you can see here on the band, it just fell apart. Like chunks started coming off of it. You can see another crack right there. I think pulsing it, yeah, it's all gouged out there. Pulsing it was not doing this band any favors. And this piece fell out. I don't know where all the other pieces went, so I'm going to have to really clean this case out. But yeah, so I think pulsing it wasn't really doing that band any favors, and then getting the fluid real hot from constantly setting it on the brake and trying it also didn't help. So the only thing I'm like slightly worried about is there's a slight groove here in the reaction carrier. I can barely catch my fingernail on it. So more than likely I'm probably just going to send it because it looks fine. Like there's a little color right there, but the whole surface itself looks fine, so I'm not too worried about it. If it causes me a problem, I'll come back and fix it. It's not that big of a deal, but everything else in the trans looked good, like the output bearings there look good, the output shaft looks good, and the pump, everything in the pump looks good. Obviously there's not much I can really look at, but the valve body, everything in the valve body is fine. Kind of got everything set in here right now. The accumulator, everything in the accumulator looks good. I just got to clean all the junk out of everything. But so far everything looks good. And I also did order a new converter. I believe this one was a 28 to 3200 stall from Jegs. and I ordered their 32 to 3500, so it'll be a little looser. I'm hoping that'll help me. 60 foot, hopefully 60 foot a little better, maybe back half a little better. We'll see, but yeah, I'll throw the time lapse up after this, and maybe we'll go over the software on the computer and see if anybody can tell me kind of where I went wrong. So the way I set it up is, instead of using the basic I/O for staging, none of that's enabled, I set up T-brake in and bump in, and I pinned it basically the way I had it before. And then on the outputs, I have a bump, PWM negative. It's not pinned to anything, and all that does is it'll tell, basically just makes the table to where whenever I press the bump button, it's 100% duty cycle. So then you come back to outputs, and then you go to T-brake out, which is just your normal trans brake out figure. And then the PWM setup at half, what I did is at half, before that it's just 100, trans brake is always enabled. And then anything above that, when you hit bump, it will bring it over here and it'll pulse the solenoid and make it creep. It worked pretty good until it didn't, so I don't know if I did it or what.